Question for you, how did you sleep last night? For me, I'm a good sleeper, fortunately, and I understand how lucky I am, because Annie isn't a great sleeper at all.
No, I'm a terrible sleeper.
And I know that this week, you know, we've been talking about this, but I think you and Annie have a similar approach, which is she's been a bad sleeper for such a long time, she doesn't let it bother her, doesn't she? Just kind of got to get on with it? Yeah,
it's always that thing. If I get 4 hours, that's my kind of minimum, I'm OK. Yeah. I'm all right. But, yeah, the little boy was up twice, once at 11:30, once at 3:45. So by that point, I was like, well, I might as well get up. At that point, I have tried everything from kind of like ditching blue lights to no coffee after 4, all that kind of stuff. But I really need your advice. This is Dr Guy Meadows, and he's here to help us all, please, this morning. Absolutely. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Did you have a good night's sleep? You always sleep well.
Well, I think that's a really important place to start.
Yeah.
Is I'm a normal sleeper, so I will have disturbed nights. People think, oh, you're a sleep doctor, you must sleep perfectly. But actually, it's important to recognise that everyone will have poor nights. You know, we have coughs and colds, we've got young children. But I think it's really important to highlight that there has been this sleep hygiene narrative for a long time where we've got to go to bed and get up at the same time, we've got to stop the blue light, we've got to drink, not drink too much caffeine, alcohol. And that is all really important, but there are a significant proportion of the population who suffer from a sleep disorder. And insomnia is one of the most prevalent. It affects 30% of the UK population.
Is it that big?
And for those individuals, you can do all of that stuff, and then you'll just be lying there going, well, I've done it all, what's wrong with me? Yeah. And that can fuel more anxiety and more worry and more stress, which then amplifies the level of wakefulness.
So what is the difference, then, between insomnia and just sleep deprivation?
Yeah, really great question, because insomnia is where you're attempting sleep, but you're just not able to get it, whereas sleep deprivation can be linked to insomnia, because if you aren't getting enough sleep, then you are going to be sleep deprived. But sleep deprivation can also be under your own steam. For example, many of us just stay up watching, TV.
Netflix too late, yeah, sure.
Or it might be out of your control. Young children, shift work,
yes, yeah, absolutely. Because I really have tried everything. What would you suggest?
Well, I have this phrase, which is that good sleepers do nothing. And so if you ask an insomniac what they do to sleep, they'll literally give you a list as long as their arm. And I've got clients who are winding down from 6 p.m. and all that's happening is their brain is literally going, what's coming?
Yeah.
And so inadvertently, through our desperation to try and get good quality sleep, it puts it up on this pedestal, whereby it becomes a conditioned response. So what that means is the brain normally would associate brushing teeth and getting into bed, reading a book with all the sleepy cues. But actually what happens is it activates your fight or flight, because it goes, oh, I remember, this is where we are not able to sleep. This is where we worry about not sleeping.
So the anxiety builds.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like you put pressure on yourself.
Exactly.
But then how do you stop doing that? Because if you're putting pressure on yourself, which is in your own head, how do you stop doing it?
OK, well, so at Sleep School, we've pioneered the use of behavioural therapy, a newer form of cognitive behaviour therapy called acceptance and commitment therapy, which is a kind of a gentle exposure therapy. So I've got 3 things that I'd like to share with you. So the first one is what we call thought bingo. So the natural response to our worrisome thoughts is to want to get rid of them, to block them out. So one of the common ones that insomniacs will have is, if I don't sleep, I won't be able to cope tomorrow. And so we give that a little label, so we call that the coping thought. But we might also have the perform thought or the looks thought. If I don't sleep, I'm going to look and feel awful tomorrow. We write all of those down and we put them on a little card. And then during the day and the evening, we actually look out for them. And if we see them, we tick them off. And if we get a full house, we can shout bingo. The purpose behind it, the psychology behind it, is we've transformed a person's relationship with it. Rather than fearing that those thoughts are going to turn up and trying to avoid them, they're actually moving towards them, leaning into it. And by doing that, being more open to experiencing them, thus lessening that anxiety. And that means lessening the arousal, increasing the chance that they're going to sleep.
So, sorry, do you do that before you go to bed? Because if I was lying in bed with my sleep mask and my curlers in and goodness else knows what, and I was thinking I've got to play bingo as well, there's not a chance in hoping
this is something a lot of our clients will be worrying. That worry will start in the daytime. So this is definitely, you can do something in the day and in the build-up to sleep. But at night time, you can just say, well, I'm noticing my mind telling me the coping thoughts again. Thank you, mind. Because your mind is doing it simply because it wants to keep you safe, because it now thinks sleep is dangerous.
But so you set, so if Kat, for example, today, she sets up a little bingo card of
Am
things
I
she
the
thinks
guinea
about.
pig
Yeah,
today?
of course you are. Absolutely, and rightly so. And then during the day, ticks off those things that maybe you think about when you're sort of trying to get to sleep and you
Bone
can't.
broth.
Oh, you can tick that one
Ben's
off.
pants.
Tick that one off. And then, so in theory, once she's got the full house, hopefully that sort of allays those thoughts so they don't necessarily
It's not
pop
so much
in.
that we can't stop them from coming in, it's more that we're open to having them, so we spend less time sort of getting caught in them.
OK. What about those thoughts that come and it's when you're lying in bed and you start off and you're having all those really useful thoughts. I must do this and I've got to do that and the boys he's got to take his violin tomorrow and he's got to do that and he's got to go to football. And then, because you're then awake, you've kind of spiralled into this abyss of completely not useful things to remember to do on your to-do list that you can't do anything about, and you're worrying about things that are huge, like, will they be happy? Will they find a job they like? Like, you're there. Yeah. So how do I stop that?
OK, so this is where we want to ground our focus, our mind's attention, into the present moment a little bit, because our mind is hardwired to worry about the past and worry about the future. And so I have a technique called getting out of your head and into your bed. It's like a little body scan.
OK.
Super easy. Just scan your body from head to toe. Notice where your body makes contact with the bed. So you might go, I can feel the pillow on the back of my head. I can feel the duvet on my toes. But, you know, you take a bit of time to do it all. As you do that, your mind will go, yeah, but what about the kids X, Y, Z, etc. And each time you do that, you gently acknowledge, you go, hey, thanks, mind, for those thoughts, but I'm just going to come back to the bed, back to this sense of actual, something which is here in reality. And so, again, it's about learning to keep coming back to the bed, but then also, I want you to understand you get a lot of benefit from lying in bed, resting.
OK, that my mum actually once said that to me and it makes me feel better.
Exactly. All of our grands will have told us this. You know, rest is really fantastic. And it's actually a form of... What we're doing there is we're learning to give ourselves permission to be awake, resting gently, and that saves your valuable energy for the next day to live our lives.
Amazing.
That body scan thing,
yeah,
because I've interviewed Guy in the past, is something that I've used when I've been out off on the road, and it's brilliant because it really distracts you back into the present where you are, and that moment, it really, really helps.
Yeah,
it's
amazing. Well, thank you. I'm going to try that, actually.
Fantastic.
I'm going to try that.
I could have graduated sleep school top of the class.
Could you?
Yeah. Not other school, but sleep school. That would have been amazing.
Just
Let me
actually
see,
being
Dr.
asleep.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.